let's think about how we can use and think about EDC to save time. My working title is 3 Zones of Access, but I know that isn't catchy enough to write a self-help novel on. It might be better to just talk about it the way it really is. Excuses to buy more gear while saving time. The specific list of gear and where it is will vary depending on you and your life, but I think the philosophy might be useful for many folks to help them identify what you should really carry versus not. I know it's helped me save at least an hour a week, if not more. Let's talk about it. What is the goal? Save time by having the right gear, when I need it, in the place I need it. I realize there have been variations of this saying for many years. After spending over 3 weeks documenting every tool I've used on a daily basis, I've realized that I've been doing a similar version of this optimization in my life for years without thinking about it, but with a much broader perspective. A quick question. Where are your kitchen knives? Why are they there? They're in the kitchen. Would you place them in a different room? The amount of lost time by having to walk to different rooms seems crazy. This reminds me of some of the more complex baby locks we had when my children were infants or toddlers. One of them was operated by using a little magnet key. It was really cool when it worked. The issue is it didn't work 100% of the time, and the key kept getting misplaced. It created huge inefficiency around our kitchen because you couldn't access the tools needed when you needed them in the kitchen. It was super frustrating. Let's talk about the 3 zones of access as I've defined them. May vary for you, the times and other things, but this will give you an idea as to how I've defined them to help me understand what I should be carrying as part of my EDC and what's not part of my EDC and where it should be. Zone 1 is the stuff I use multiple times a day. I want to assure I have it within 30 seconds. This is where on-body EDC is important to me. I carry my cell phone and a variety of other items with me every day, such as my knife, multi-tool, wallet, and a number of other objects I won't rattle off here. My most common activities are covered, such as opening boxes, paying for stuff, and doing basic work around the house. Zone 2 are items that I want access to within 2 minutes. I use them multiple times a week. This includes the red toolbox labeled Quick Toolbox you see here, at least 1 power drill, and our junk drawer in our kitchen. Using these things, I can handle most things that come up, whether that is hanging a picture, fixing a leaky drain pipe, gluing some random objects back together in an untimely run-in with the floor, or tightening up the bolts on a chair. Zone 3 is everything else. Once I'm diving into larger toolboxes or I'm hitting up my labeled bins in the garage, we're at a whole different level. Usually there is a real thought needed or I'm dealing with something very specific. It is worth noting that if I'm already in the garage working on something, the items in the toolbox are often within 2 minutes or maybe even 30 seconds. So the zones might shift for that work, such as working on an automobile, where I'm much more likely to need something out of the toolbox, but then it's right there, easy access. I could blow this up into 1 or 2 more zones, right? We could have a zone 4 for the stuff in my crawl space, zone 5 for my storage unit, but I don't feel the need to go that far. The 3 zones kind of cover everything that's really needed. One thing of note is that the zones are relative. For this discussion, I've been focused on general household stuff. EDC gear is my zone 1, my quick toolbox is zone 2, and my garage tools and storage is zone 3. This doesn't mean that you can't have other zone definitions, such as the things you have in your kitchen, or when I'm working on EDC gear, which is an example here. Over here, we have a number of tools that I often use while working on EDC gear. I have some lubricating oil. I have a little little tool I use in order to be able to change watch bands. Got a couple screwdrivers. I got some thread locker. And then I have a little electronic screwdriver over here that I use for fairly gentle and delicate micro type of activities while just sitting here at the desk. Those are the types of things that I have here to just handle the things that I might come up in this area, because I don't want to have to run down to the garage to get these tools every time I need them. But you know what? I have blue thread locker and small screwdrivers down in the garage too. There is duplication. It's part of what's going to happen whenever you are setting up these zones and you're thinking about your life in this area of making sure that the things I might use while I'm doing this are in the zone. Like I said, we're more focused on the general idea of EDC here, but it's important to understand that if you do something often enough, like I do working at this workstation whenever I'm not on camera, I really want the tools that I'll commonly use right here, and I never want to have to think about them being anywhere else in my house. So these tools are dedicated to this workstation. Additionally, what about things like first aid kits? Not an everyday thing, but I keep one in my car. Clearly, some things are important enough to make you violate the rules. I don't use it every day. I don't even use it every week. I don't use it every month, but it's got to be there. The only thing I think you've got to be careful of with things like first aid kits is that you don't lose track of them. And you have to worry about things like expiration dates or the bandages just not being functional anymore, because I have had adhesive go bad on Band-Aids in the past. To summarize, I'm still developing my ideas on this, but I know I've been doing this for years, and just recently I've had to really come to grips with it as I've had to write down every time I've used a tool every single day. But I guess defining how fast I want something helps. It's helping me to already identify what I want to carry and what I don't carry on my body. And it over the years, it's helped me to refine what's in my quick toolbox around the house. Is this thing that's just I've had for 10, 15 plus years now that just contains all the stuff I might regularly use? For me, 3 zones seems about right. 30 seconds for daily use, 2 minutes multiple times a week, and then everything else. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. If you have a thought, some refinement, something I'm not thinking of, I'd love to hear about it. Leave a comment. That's it. I hope all is going well for you.